An operation is being launched to eliminate the crystal region by deploying an AA pillar. The mission aims to eradicate E2 crystals and prepare for the expansion of Reclamation Site 01. Intelligence confirms no official squads are in the area, though unofficial groups might be present. The AA pillar launch sequence initiates successfully, with control being transferred to an operator. As the pillar descends, it's noted that it contains significant energy. During this operation, an urgent call comes in about a rare specimen, prompting immediate concern. A strange signal is detected near the AA pillar, causing alarm. An emergency situation unfolds as something called Gluttony appears, requiring immediate contact with ARC Command. The perspective shifts to someone drowning underwater. In their desperation, someone grabs their hand and promises they won't die. The drowning person feels warmth and hears a soothing voice before losing consciousness. The person awakens in a strange underwater location where they encounter what appears to be a ferry. They soon meet others who were also rescued from a shipwreck. Mihara with partner Yuni, who communicates through vocalizations, and someone named Siren who saved them. Siren explains they are indeed underwater, protected by some kind of barrier. The group discovers they're trapped with no immediate way back to the surface. This revelation causes distress, particularly for someone named Mori, who urgently needs to return. The group shares a meal provided by Siren, who reveals this is her first time having guests. Siren explains she rescued them using special bubbles imbued with a power called Kodadama, which she can control. Siren reveals she needs a month to recover enough power to send everyone back to the surface. Despite Mori's protests about the delay, they're warned that leaving the protective bubble would be fatal. The group offers to help Siren while waiting. She takes them to a collection area containing various items, including a non-functioning AA pillar still containing energy. They're tasked with scavenging useful materials. While scavenging, they encounter playful bubble-like entities that Siren previously described as robots. Mihara approaches Mori, who is working alone, suspecting she might be from a resource-gathering squad. Despite Mori's initial defensiveness, they begin to learn about each other as they face spending considerable time together underwater. A tense conversation unfolds where one person firmly declares they won't see the other again after leaving. Despite the other expressing hope to maintain contact, the response is definitive rejection. The conversation ends abruptly with someone being asked to leave. Internal reflections reveal a complex situation involving tracking and a mission. The person was assigned to report on what they choose within 2 months, with 1 month remaining. There's evident frustration about being involved with what they describe as liars. A scene shift shows people preparing for some kind of operation with mentions of recharging mana, potions, and taking an aggro role. Someone expresses pleasure with a story, followed by excitement over collected items. The focus turns to gathered materials, with surprise at the volume collected. Someone admits they never search thoroughly when alone, only looking for food. Another person has created beds from bubbles at a shelter, impressing others with this ability. The bubble beds prove comfortable. There's discussion about whether using bubbles this way might delay escape plans, but reassurance is given that all bubbles will be recollected for future use. Someone expresses amazement at unbreakable bubbles. A character named Yuni wants to go outside but is discouraged. There's discussion about Mori avoiding the group, possibly due to awkwardness around people she was tracking. Yuni seems displeased with Mori, but likes Siren. Though someone suspects Siren isn't being entirely truthful, someone is digging in unusually hard dirt when Siren appears. Despite initial reluctance, they agree to follow Siren to see bubble making. They arrive at a remarkable bubble workshop beneath a tree, filled with cute items. The conversation reveals Siren's loneliness and past coping mechanism of making bubbles resembling friends. The other person resists kindness, suspicious of ulterior motives, insisting they prefer direct requests to apparent benevolence, accusing Siren of putting on a front. Siren explains how the bubble tree works, gathering ocean energy to increase bubble surface area. Someone is fascinated by this liquid metal tree that feels surprisingly warm when touched. They request to check something further. Siren warns against proceeding further, explaining they must remain hidden from a dangerous entity that doesn't understand language. Siren admits being weakened and hiding from this threat, expressing concern that the group's arrival may have attracted attention. Questions arise about Siren's motives for helping strangers. Siren explains feeling isolated for 70 years, viewing their arrival as a gift. There's acknowledgement of mutual hardships and an offer to hear Siren's full story someday. Tension persists with someone rejecting Siren's continued attempts at kindness. Later, they reluctantly agree to explore together after finding something interesting near a submarine. A beautiful silvery liquid is discovered, causing Siren immediate concern. Before explanation can be given, red lights appear underwater, identified as raptors, which shouldn't be able to move underwater. The unexpected appearance of raptors underwater raises questions about their true location. When asked directly if they're really underwater, Siren hesitates and apologizes, leading to accusations of lying to the group. An emotional confrontation occurs as someone feels betrayed by Mori, believing they've been deceived again. Despite Mori's attempts to explain, the person decides to leave regardless of danger. Mori reveals they're inside a colossal rapture's throat called Gluttony, making departure fatal. The person struggles to accept this shocking revelation that they've been eaten by a rapture and might die, but refuses to trust Mori's words and still intends to leave. Jian introduces himself to Mori from the Incubator squad. He gives Mori a calling signal generator that attracts raptors, explaining a disturbing mission: follow someone to the surface, activate the device, and report how they react. Jian reveals he created a Nikkei Rapture fusion and wants to see whether Rapture instincts or Nikkei rationality prevails when hearing the signal. In exchange for completing this task within 2 months, Mori will be permanently removed from the disposal list. A barrier breaks, causing digestive fluid to leak in. As they try to plug the hole with an AA pillar, Yuni suddenly transforms and attacks Mihora, nearly strangling her with bindings. Despite pleas to stop, Yuni continues the assault until reminded about being a Nikkei who loves Mihora. This brings Yuni back to normal, deeply remorseful about the attack, while Mihora forgives them. A flashback reveals Mori, origins as a defective Nikkei who remembers their birth moment. Despite not being mass-produced, Mori had no special talents and was assigned to a squad where they faced discrimination, ridicule, and sabotage. After retaliating against mistreatment with violence, Mori was sent to rehabilitation and later tricked by another squad into taking blame for theft. Mori was reassigned to the Incubator squad, a last-chance placement for problem cases before being scrapped. Even there, squad mates avoided the dangerous and defective Nikkei. Desperate to survive, Mori made a deal with Jian, using others' misery as a stepping stone. Contemplating whether someone born broken deserves to live in such an evil world, Mori considers ending it all until someone arrives saying they came to get Mori. In a secluded hollow, two characters meet. One has been searching for the other daily, finding them in their safe place. The discovered person questions why they were sought out and threatens to leave, but is warned that leaving means certain death. They express suicidal thoughts, feeling their existence only brings misery to others. The first character expresses sadness at the thought of the other dying. The second character questions this sentiment, asking what right they have to care when they lied and tricked them. It's revealed they're inside a Rapture's throat, a truth that was hidden to supposedly protect them. The suicidal character, Mori, expresses deep anguish about their life, claiming no one has ever been happy about their existence or offered help. The other character, Siren, reveals they heard Mori's cry for help in a bubble and saved them, celebrating their existence and suggesting they mark the day as Mori's birthday. Mori demands to know why Siren cares so much. Siren explains they were lonely before Mori arrived and wants them to live. This causes Mori to cry for the first time, acknowledging that despite past experiences making them distrustful, they've been blind to Siren's genuine kindness. The two decide to escape together, with Mori accepting Siren's extended hand. Later, Mori apologizes to others named Yumi and Mihara for the harm caused by their self-preservation. Siren also apologizes for hiding the truth about their location. Siren explains they were also swallowed by a creature called Gluttony long ago and created their current environment inside it. The space is surrounded by dangerous silver digestive liquid that dissolves everything except natural substances and Siren's protective bubbles. Siren reveals they can create escape bubbles sooner than planned due to an early release of silver liquid, potentially allowing departure within a week. The news causes mixed reactions, with Mori seeming troubled by the accelerated timeline. Mihara discovers Siren is hiding something about an AA pillar made of bubbles. Confronted, Siren admits there's a problem, but insists on getting everyone out rather than fixing it together. Despite protests, Siren is determined to save the others, even at personal cost. Siren explains that the others have helped alleviate their loneliness and become precious friends. Mihara reluctantly agrees to Siren's plan, but warns about the responsibility that comes with giving affection to someone starved for it. In a later scene, Mori visits Siren and inquires about dolls that represent Siren's friends who were separated long ago. Siren believes these friends are still alive somewhere on the surface, but cannot leave to find them due to an important promise to send Mori, Yuni, and Mihara to safety. The group prepares to leave their confinement, with Siren explaining she'll surround them in protective bubbles for their journey to the surface. She mentions Gluttony's air hole opens weekly, allowing for their escape. Siren assures them they'll be safe, as she's done this many times before when sending up her dolls. Mori suddenly refuses to leave without Siren, sensing something is wrong. Siren reveals she must stay behind due to the AA pillar, which came into contact with silver liquid, creating dangerous energy levels that she must contain. If Gluttony absorbs this energy, it would cause catastrophic damage to the surface. Mori pleads with Siren to escape with them, but Siren refuses, explaining she promised to be a goddess of victory who cannot run away from responsibility. Despite Mori pointing out no one would know of her sacrifice, Siren is content knowing her friends will remember her good deed. Siren thanks Mori for being a good friend before forcibly sending the group to the surface in protective bubbles. The friends emerge safely while Siren remains behind. Mori becomes distraught, begging to return to Siren as the group realizes Gluttony is moving. Alone again, Siren acknowledges the deafening silence. She apologizes to Levi and her other friends for not being able to continue waiting for them. She finds comfort in the good times shared with her new friends and prepares to face her end bravely as a shield protecting the world. Siren reflects on her time trapped inside Gluttony, an infinite black void filled with seawater and items from the surface. She tried every possible escape method but discovered Gluttony operated on primal instinct, making her Kotodama powers ineffective against it. Despite moments of despair and loneliness, Siren remembered a promise to friends about creating a fairy tale with a happy ending. This motivated her to survive by expanding protective bubbles, creating a living space, and crafting dolls resembling her friends to send to the surface. When the group arrived, Siren was both worried and ecstatic for company after her solitude. Their presence brought her joy, allowing her to use her Kotodama powers while talking and living with them. She faces her end without fear, asking them not to blame themselves. The scene shifts to Mori, waking up at Reclamation Site 01 with mana from the MMR squad. Learning Mihara and Yuni are outside, Mori immediately asks about Gluttony and Siren. Upon discovering Gluttony left, Mori desperately wants to pursue it to save Siren. Mana refuses to let Mori chase after Gluttony, insisting Mori needs to understand what kind of rapture Gluttony is first. Mana emphasizes that Siren sacrificed herself to save them and won't allow Mori to recklessly endanger herself without knowing the full situation. Gluttony is a tyrant-class Rapture that first appeared during the initial Rapture invasion. After humanity retreated to the Ark, Gluttony made rare appearances. This dangerous entity once consumed an ICBM aimed at destroying the left, then redirected the energy back at the launch site, completely decimating it. This incident caused humanity to cease using large-scale weapons against Rapture facilities. Siren stayed behind to prevent Gluttony from digesting the AA pillar, as its absorption would wipe the entire region off the map. Despite understanding the near impossibility of the task and acknowledging personal fear of even ordinary raptures, Mori refuses to abandon Siren, who is the first person to express gladness for Mori's existence. In desperation, Mori begs Mihara for help, offering anything in return: submission of false reports, complete obedience, even dying in Mihara's place. Despite initial reluctance, Mihara agrees to help rescue Siren, but insists they need a plan to defeat Gluttony rather than rushing into a suicide mission. Seeking information about Gluttony, the group approaches someone knowledgeable. They explain that the AA pillar remains inside Gluttony, with Siren still there preventing its energy from being absorbed. The fact that they escaped from inside Gluttony is considered miraculous, and having a pilgrim inside may increase rescue chances. They meet Shifty from the central government's intelligence division. Shifty explains that unless Gluttony poses a direct threat to the central government, they won't actively pursue it. With the Ark recently suffering a large-scale attack, reinforcing defenses takes priority over confronting Gluttony. Shifty reveals there is one way to damage Gluttony, using E2 crystals harvested from the crystal region. These crystals absorb electrical energy upon contact and continue expanding until all energy is depleted. If placed on Gluttony's core, the crystals could defeat it despite its energy absorption and discharge capabilities. The plan has major challenges: luring Gluttony, keeping its mouth open, and holding it in place. The operation is considered extremely dangerous, with survival chances close to zero. Despite the risks, Mori volunteers to carry out the mission, determined to save Siren regardless of personal cost. Mihara asks to borrow Mori's phone, intending to contact someone very powerful, the person who sent Mori to them. This mysterious contact might help solve the problem of restraining gluttony. Mihara steps away for privacy during this conversation, leaving Mori with Yuni. A character expresses the need to meet with someone who might have a solution to their problem, specifically, a way to keep gluttony in check and utilize their power effectively. They ask another character to stay with Mori while they step away. When questioned if they're okay, they remain determined to settle things once and for all, expressing a deep desire to become stronger and protect others rather than remaining powerless and full of sorrow. The character initiates contact with a mysterious individual who reveals they've previously undergone memory wipes. This person mentions an experiment involving Mori and threatens her disposal if she doesn't report back with findings. During negotiation, the main character makes 3 requests: stop the calling signal experiment on Yuni, spare Mori, and help them become stronger. They offer themselves as an experimental subject instead of Yuni. It's revealed that Yuni has 2 cores inside her, one NIKKE core and one Rapture core. The NIKKE core currently maintains dominance, allowing Yuni's consciousness to control her body, but exposure to the calling signal activates the Rapture core, which could cause Rapture instincts to take over completely. The mysterious person agrees to the terms, seeing value in implanting a Rapture core into someone special. The character explains they want to become stronger to defeat gluttony, described as beyond tyrant class and named after cardinal sin. The mysterious person warns that implanting a Rapture core is akin to a death sentence, but agrees to the terms. The deal establishes that the main character will become a test subject for life in exchange for the 3 requests being granted. Yuni expresses intense hatred towards someone who followed them from the Ark and activated the calling signal, nearly causing Mihara's death. She becomes violent and threatens to kill this person, before recognizing similarities between them. The threatened person begs to save Siren first, after which they accept their fate. Yuni ultimately understands the desire to save someone precious. Mihara returns, noticing marks on Mori's neck, but doesn't press when they claim it was just an accident. Mihara mentions finding a way to become stronger. Shortly after, someone delivers E2 crystals needed for an operation, warning that they absorb electrical energy and are dangerous for Nikkei to touch. A warning is given about dangerous crystals that will cause corruption if touched. They must never be removed from their jar, and if accidental contact occurs, the affected body area must immediately have its power shut down to prevent spread of corruption. The team is reminded that everything rides on their mission, and failure is not an option. Someone desperately fights to protect a core determined to succeed for everyone's sake, despite feeling nostalgic about people they'll never see again. They've been discovered hiding an AA pillar from an entity called Gluttony. The protective bubble barrier has thinned due to condensing bubbles around the AA pillar, making it easier to detect. The character defies gluttony, refusing to surrender the AA pillar despite its threatening presence. They use bubbles to dissolve energy, but are reaching their limit as side effects begin transforming their body into liquid metal. Despite this deterioration, they persist in depleting the energy. The team locates Gluttony's vicinity at a beach, determining it's underground within a 10-kilometer radius. They plan to lure Gluttony out using strong energy as bait. The beach location will minimize Rapture swarms. They devise a coordinated strategy. One will lure Gluttony, Yuni will keep its mouth open, and Mori will enter with E2 crystals. They learn that someone named Siren intends to sacrifice herself to eliminate energy inside the AA pillar. Mori must not only plant E2 crystal onto Gluttony's core, but also convince Siren to leave. The mission's purpose is emphasized: to save lives, not lose their own. Mori commits to not failing his allies. Yuni receives reassurance that they won't be abandoned. They've promised to truly see each other, feel each other's pain, and atone for sins together. The person activates a code release, attempting to initiate fusion by activating all cores to their limit, but encounters errors until using a special unlock code. The scene shifts to a conversation about inserting something into Mihara's body. It's revealed to be a special enhancement from someone named Suin, meant to be placed beside Mihara's Nikkei core. This procedure is dangerous because Nikkei and Rapture cores normally can't coexist due to a protective barrier in Nikkei cores. During the procedure, system errors and warnings appear, indicating core response errors and barrier activation failures. The subject endures tremendous pain, vowing to accept it all: pain, sorrow, desperation, to protect their bond and reclaim power, determined that they will either die or live together. The transformation grants incredible power. The character now can endure unlimited pain and even enjoy it. They've gained chains that can establish connections with enemies through stabbing. This powerful energy release successfully attracts Gluttony as planned. The hunt begins as they prepare to face it. The battle with Gluttony begins. It senses danger and tries to avoid attacks. Mori's improved shooting skills help defend against tentacles. Gluttony is distracted by digesting something, giving them an advantage. Using chains to connect with Gluttony, they create a sensory exchange, forcing it to experience its own pain. Yuni is performing a dangerous sensory exchange to allow Mori to pass through to Siren. Despite the physical stress on Yuni's body, she manages to create a connection, giving Mori exactly 30 minutes to convince Siren before the exchange is severed. Mori promises to rescue Siren and expresses gratitude to Yuni for her sacrifice. Inside Gluttony, something unusual is happening as the creature appears to be shaking and fighting against an unknown force. Mori notices someone running toward them, recognizing Siren. Mori successfully manages to reach Siren, expressing release that they survived the dangerous encounter. Mori urges Siren to escape, informing her that Mihara and Yuni are outside, keeping Gluttony from moving. Siren refuses to leave, explaining she must completely deplete the AA pillar's energy first. Taking it outside wouldn't work, as Gluttony would instinctively chase after it. Mori presents a solution, a device from MMR researcher Mana that can absorb electrical energy if lodged in Gluttony's core. Siren thanks Mori for returning to help, but insists on staying behind alone to defeat Gluttony. Despite Mori's protests and emotional pleas to come with her, Siren remains determined to face the danger alone. Mori refuses to leave without Siren, declaring that despite feeling useless and weak, they want to save her. In a powerful emotional exchange, Mori begs Siren to survive, calling her the goddess of victory and pleading for her to prove that kindness can be repaid with kindness. This resonates deeply with Siren, who realizes she must continue writing her story with a happy ending rather than accepting defeat. Siren's resolve strengthens as she commits to taking even the slightest chance at survival. Meanwhile, outside, Yumi and Mihara are struggling to hold back Gluttony, which is experiencing considerable pain. Yumi demonstrates incredible strength, and Mihara offers encouragement, promising to bear the burden together. Intense shaking interrupts their efforts. Siren suddenly appears, protecting the others from danger. She explains her plan. Mori will fire a special bubble bullet containing crystals at Gluttony's core, while Siren uses her power to breathe the entire space to the surface, protecting them from potential dangers the crystals might pose. Working together, they execute the plan. Siren raises the space to the surface, while Mori fires at Gluttony's core. Though the crystals hit their target and begin to expand, the effect isn't strong enough to defeat Gluttony completely. Undeterred, Siren asks if the others will fight alongside her, and they enthusiastically confirm their commitment to winning together. The battle continues as Gluttony proves remarkably resilient. They realize they need bait to make the core expand and the crystals grow larger. Siren uses the AA pillar as bait, managing to feed it to Gluttony's core. This causes the crystals to grow and finally break apart Gluttony's throat structure. As Gluttony breaks apart, they discover this was only one of its mouths, not the main body. Siren explains that Gluttony consists of a massive main body with multiple mouth organs attached, and they only destroyed the core of one mouth. Despite this revelation, the sounds from the main body are faint, indicating it has fled after severing its damaged mouth. A moment of realization dawns on everyone as they process their victory. Multiple exclamations of triumph echo through the group as they celebrate their success against the formidable adversary. The atmosphere shifts from tension to relief and joy as they acknowledge their collective achievement.